This was my 29th day on the Camino Frances. I was leaving the urban environment of Ponferrada and getting ever closer to Santiago de Compostela. In this next section, I would reach the start of the busiest section of this Camino route, Sarria, but I still had a few more days left on the trail before joining the busyness that I had been hearing so much about. This is a special region for wine growing. George, who's ahead, was just telling me it's called Bierzo. George, what's it called?
Bierzo.
Bierzo wine.
Yes, it's a little appellation with a delicious wine.
Okay. I had some regional wine last night. I wonder if it was this. It was really nice anyway. There are the grapes. We're back in the mountains. It's beautiful again. We've left the road behind us. Now we're in apple orchard territory. From grapes to apples. And back to vineyards again. This is my crazy friend Doreen, being my pacemaker car. She's gonna meet me for lunch. I love her, she's so much fun. I said goodbye to my friend who had come to join me on the Camino for a day and a couple of nights. Old wine press. This is an albergue. Each of these cabins has 2 beds in it and they go all the way around the outside of the church. That can't be right. I saw a sign earlier for 197 or something, but maybe that's by the road. On entering Villafranca, pilgrims walk past the Church of Santiago, which was built in the 12th century and is where pilgrims who are too sick to continue all the way to Santiago de Compostela could receive a pardon. My albergue! I could have taken the shortcut out of Villafranca this morning, but I noticed I was going to miss some landmarks if I did that and if I followed them. So let me show you why I've kind of added probably a couple of 100 meters onto the walk. This is the actual Camino route, and this is the route I want to follow because it takes you past those kind of historic sites and those old churches and things like that. So I'm on the proper Camino. I'm now behind everyone that was leaving Villafranca at the same time as me, but that doesn't really concern me. It's 7 a.m. I've got a long walk today and it's a difficult one. It's not the distance that concerns me, it's the climb up to O Cebreiro. just had a bit of an awkward moment. I've just used the bathroom at, there was actually like a service station. We're walking parallel to quite a main road. So I went in and used that because there's, you know, free toilets in there and everything. And then I come out and then there's a pilgrim just right at the side of the road opposite the service station. And then I realised he's just standing there having a wee, like over the crash barrier. And I'm like, it's just right in there open, and it's a bit awkward because I was literally walking right past him and it was right opposite the service station. So I don't really understand why you wouldn't just go in and use the toilet. I sound judgy. I'm not judging. I'm just like, it's a bit awkward for the other people that are around you, especially when a woman is just walking behind you and you've got your thing out. I didn't see that, but it's just a bit much. Sorry, TMI. Keep walking. A second kind of awkward thing. It's actually quite a common thing that happens on the Camino, and every pilgrim must experience this. Obviously, when you're walking, you often end up falling in step with someone else. But sometimes there's an assumption that, oh no, we're walking together, let's walk together all day. I struggle with that a little bit because everyone's here for different reasons. Some people love walking in a group the whole time, but actually one of the things that I was concerned about was walking by myself. How was I going to manage? But what I've learned to discover on this Camino is I actually really cherish that time. I like listening to podcasts. I'm alone with my thoughts. I can think about stuff or think about nothing or just observe what's going on around me and pray and listen to music, things like that. I've really appreciated that. Those times that you walk together with someone are actually really important, and I do really value them. But what I've realised is I like doing it for a few kilometres or a few miles, and then I like to kind of break off again. But sometimes the other person's expectation is different, and I find it, being British, quite difficult to get my needs across. And then I start talking in a roundabout way like, oh, why don't you go on ahead? I just need to stop here for something. But they're like, oh no, don't worry, I'll wait for you. And instead I should just be, I just need to walk alone for a bit. But I find that rude, so I don't know, maybe that's my Britishness. Maybe it's I'm not assertive enough, but I haven't quite got that one yet. So it's something I need to work on. And I'm in the less than 200 kilometers to Santiago, so I haven't got that long to figure it out, but I'll try. The path up to O Cebreiro is long and steep, and some pilgrims hire a horse at the bottom to take them and their bags up to the top of the hill. Starting to get a little bit more muddy now. You can see the horse hoof prints, but it's about to get steep. That's going to be the challenge. You can just hear me breathing. I watched a YouTube video of someone hiking up this path, doing the Camino, obviously. She really struggled on this section because of the smell of the horse poop. It's not bothering me. I don't know if that's just, I can't smell it. That's not the challenge to me. The challenge is the gradient of the slope. Definitely some muddy sections and horse poop to avoid, but it's not been too bad. In 0.25 or 0.3 of a kilometre, there is a village with a water fountain. I'm going to sit down and eat my cheese bocadillo sandwich. I was talking to my friend Christina, who's on the trail ahead of me, and she told me this was really, really good drinking water. It's cold. I'm going to sit and have a break. My friend was not wrong. This water is actually amazing. The path's still climbing, but it's levelled out a bit now, making it much more manageable. I also love these flowers. You see them all over the place. They just sometimes pop through even the path that you're walking on. Very beautiful. Still climbing. It's a little bit deceptive, so although the path is more level than it was, I've just looked at the gradient map and it's only going to be like this for a very short section, and it's going to go up, up, up again all the way to O Cebreiro. But I've only got 3 kilometres to go. I am very nearly there. It's meant to be a really interesting village. As I walked up the road, I noticed a small snack bar, and as I was wondering to myself whether they would be okay with me paying for a drink with a €50 note, I saw that a herd of cows was heading in my direction, and one of them literally seemed to run right at me, only turning away at the very last moment. And this cow just ran at me, and it was coming straight towards me, and it was only in the very last second it kind of turned away. At the time I felt fine. It was afterwards my heart was racing and it kind of, the adrenaline caught up with me. Another pilgrim also captured it because he was filming them. It didn't look quite as freaky from his angle, but he said he thought I was gonna literally get attacked by the cow. And I was like, yeah, you just kind of witnessed a bit of a near-death experience. So it wasn't really, but I felt like I was running with the bulls in Pamplona. I did just stop at the bar and I got myself a radler, which is shandy in the UK. Beer mixed with lemonade. So a tiny bit of alcohol in it, but it's half lemonade. It was actually really nice. I was like, oh, that was a bit scary. I'll just sit down and gather my thoughts and my energy before I finish the last 2 kilometres. I thought today was meant to be downhill. Seems to be a lot of uphills, but look at this view. I just walked past a farm and lots of dogs, but the farmer's wife was standing outside with a plate of freshly made pancakes. She was selling each pancake for €1. It was pretty good income generation. I feel alive because it's windy, it's rainy, I'm up in the hills, and it's just like being at home in the UK. I'm hiking in the Lake District in the north of England, and I'm in my element and I love it. I arrived in the town of Triacastella in the early afternoon. It's a popular stopping point, but I had decided to press on. Here there is a choice of routes to take, to go direct to Sarria or to take an alternate longer route via Samos, where there is a huge monastery. I wanted to visit Samos, so I waved goodbye to fellow pilgrims who were already having their beers in a bar, and I walked 10 more kilometres. I'm just approaching the monastery complex in Samos. I can just start to see buildings appearing through the trees ahead of me. I need to be careful. There are acorns and walnuts falling all around me in this wind. This complex is incredible. After checking into my accommodation, I had a quick turnaround and was able to get onto the last tour of the monastery that day. There was certainly a lot of impressive artwork, and after the tour I joined other pilgrims at the Pilgrim Mass. I enjoyed being in Samos, although that evening and the next morning there was something playing on my mind. I've got a 20-kilometre walk today. There are 2 routes. One is by a road, but you're advised not to take it. It's very dangerous because there isn't a separate path. The other is up in the hills through woods and is much more remote. Now, the thing that concerns me about this, I've kind of missed the bubble of people leaving this morning. So I think they're only about 5 minutes ahead of me. People just left the bar where I've just had breakfast. You see the church behind me in the monastery. Yesterday, the walk to Samos I did late in the afternoon. I didn't get here till about 5. At the beginning, I saw 2 other female pilgrims. They were really taking their time, and I don't think they were coming all the way to Samos. And then after that, I was completely on my own. And to be honest, it was a little bit creepy. I saw 2 people walk the Camino the other way. The second one, I wasn't sure of. And last night, I was chatting to a lady in the bar when I went for dinner, and she said she had a scary experience. She met a guy walking towards her. She just didn't feel safe at all, and she ended up going into the only bar on the way and called a taxi. I walked, but I didn't actually feel comfortable, and I had some sort of like, ooh, is there somebody following me vibes. First time I felt like that on the Camino. And obviously Samos, as I say, not that many pilgrims come here. So I've got another walk through the woods now. Great, and I think I've left. I was so tired after my 30 plus kilometres yesterday that I may have missed the bubble of pilgrims walking. It's highly likely. It's now like 8:30. It's really late. Anyway, hopefully I'll catch some up. To some people, this may seem a little overdramatic, my reaction, but I did feel shaken up by it. I talk more about it in my Dark Side of the Camino video if you want to check that out. The route from Samos to Sarria is absolutely beautiful, and it's quiet. It's a moment of reflection and taking stock, because I've been warned that when I reach Sarria, the craziness will begin. But right now, it feels a million miles away from all of that craziness. I'm just walking along next to rivers, next to cows, through forests, and there's everywhere I look, all of these plants next to me. It's wild mint and it just smells amazing. Just entering the tiny hamlet of Seville. Is that a cow? I don't know if it's real. I don't think it's real. This is meant to be a great place for breakfast, so I'm gonna find out. Hola. There's the cow that I thought was real. This farmhouse was also a sweet little pension with a cafe, and it was like sitting in someone's living room having my first taste of Santiago tart and hot chocolate. My map shows down that road to the left, so there's a fork in the road. It shows to the left. There's also another little fork down here. My map does not show this. This hamlet is very keen for you to come this way. They have put many arrows here, so I'll just follow them. Hi, dog. Hey. Hello. Hola. Spanish-speaking dog. I'm talking to the dog in English. Doesn't understand. Eventually, I joined up with the main trail from Compostela, and it was very strange being with so many people again after walking by myself for 2 days. I've got about an hour before I get to Sarria. I've really enjoyed the peace this morning, and now I've joined the main part of the trail, which has many pilgrims walking on it, but not nearly as many as there will be when I arrive in Sarria. The section between Sarria and Santiago is the busiest on the Camino Frances, and this is because there is just over 100 kilometers to Santiago, the minimum required distance to be awarded the Compostela certificate. Some serious crowds arriving in Sarria. I'm leaving. Sarria was actually fine. Because I arrived at lunchtime, all of today's pilgrims, well, the ones that arrived last night have already left early this morning. The ones that I guess are leaving tomorrow were arriving. There was an albergue and a monastery on the edge of the town as you were leaving. That seemed really full. And there were little mini buses with school groups and big crowds of people outside. I guess they're leaving tomorrow. But I've actually got the path to myself at the moment. And I've only got 3 or 4 kilometers to go. I'm staying at Barbadillo tonight. So that is off stage. It's 4 kilometers past Sarria. And it means that if I leave early enough in the morning, may be able to avoid the crowds. Let's see how that works out. Hi, cows. Hello, cows. At least these ones didn't have horns.